I think between the two of us, it was first working with the Colorado School of Mines students to come up with a design and a plan. And Bill and Nathan were critical in moving through that process. And then Skylar, once he came on, to be able to finish up the design and figure out what could actually happen and what could be done.
I ended up designing the building. So it was really cool for me because it was like I went to school for architecture, didn't finish, and so it was like, it's my first design building as a failed architecture student. So when the actual building started, Bill and Robin and Skylar kind of like lead the project and just support in any way possible.
Well, there were multiple projects that we looked at, mainly. Classroom, dressing room, storage space, and then to improve the actual pitch.
They wanted not only to build a shell of a building, they wanted to build the components and the pieces to make that building come alive. They wanted to have a whiteboard so that Emily could actually teach.
In collaboration with the Colorado School of Mines, a machine was designed to create bricks using the soil from the property. This would allow the project to be completed within the limited budget, but would continue to be a resource for the locals in future ventures. The brick machine was transported to New Vision School, and the staff started making bricks in May of 2022. Soil was collected from the property and then compressed into its final shape by the brick machine. The bricks then go through a several-week covered and uncovered curing process to develop strength and integrity. Once enough bricks had finished, the crew from Montana arrived to help build.
We'd leave the house around 7:15, 7:30, get there a good hour before everyone else and just kind of clean up the job site and prep everything so that when everyone else came, we could just get moving, going, and we'd plan out the day.
Then it was daily basis, starting off with getting everybody preparing to say, what are we going to do today?
I think Bill and Robin did a really good job each day divvying out responsibilities.
We know that none of us have done this before, but we have firm beliefs that we can make this happen. And so talking about how each of them can learn different skills, how they can each participate, because we wanted everybody to have hands-on associated with how they would actually make the bricks, transport them, put them up.
The first couple of days, actually, everybody got to take turns learning the whole thing from start to finish, making bricks, hauling bricks, stacking the bricks.
Everyone was learning. Our Bozeman team was learning a lot from the Tanzanians. The Tanzanians were teaching us, but at the same time, we were able to teach them some too and really come together and be an effective team.
Not only am I learning about woodworking, but I'm also learning about how to put the bricks together and how that process goes. So it's kind of just all a ton of new information that I can take back.
It feels amazing. Like, it just is like, it's very accomplishing. Like, being able to dig a 50-foot trench with like super specific, like where to pat it down and like all this stuff, but not really knowing what they're actually saying, but like being able to get that idea through all the other things they're doing that's not through language.
This entire experience is going to be with me forever.
Everyone worked really well together. Everyone worked really hard.
I carried bricks, I dug holes, I moved concrete.
Well, yeah, I joked with Hunter before we left that we were basically going as sweat labor. And that came out to be the fact because we really didn't know what we were getting into as far as this building stuff. Robin and Bill had detailed it over Zoom meetings, and so we kind of had an idea of what was going to happen, but we really didn't know until we showed up.
A lot of times I was just kind of supervising groups and wandering around, making sure everyone was doing stuff safely and kind of had a task that they were working on. I carried a lot of bricks every day.
Where I spent the entire project of the building was just cutting bricks.
When the crew from Montana arrived, the obstacles at hand became apparent.
As soon as Bill and Robin got there, they had to like reevaluate things.
They were digging the clay out to make the bricks. There was like a huge overhang. It looked like if it was snow, an avalanche waiting to happen. And people were down in this big hole with a big overhanging piece of dirt.
And of course, you know, environmental engineers that came from a mining community could see like, yeah, you know what, like this pit isn't very safe the way that it is. And, you know, and so the first thing that they did was kind of reassess things and like, how can we make this project here safer for everyone that's working?
None of us had built with these bricks before.
I don't want to say we were winging it, but there was some real trial and error there. We learned as we went. And
the biggest obstacles that I think we faced was when the wall came crashing down after we had worked on it all day and they just got it plastered. And
right, the wall fell over. We had to redo that. And that wasn't anybody's fault, really. It's just the way it is. It's disappointing, but it's nobody's fault.
Like the emotion levels of like, this wall looks awesome. And then we leave for a game at a different field and we get this photo and it's like, wall is broken. Oh my gosh, we spent all day doing that.
When it initially collapsed, everyone was really sad, but then Bill and Robin whipped up a new design for it and we rebuilt it back up. So that was a good, like, well, this sucks, but time to move on. We'll redo it better the next time.
As we moved up the walls, everything started kind of bending one way or the other, and it's because the bricks had been modified, and so they weren't laying flat. They were actually with the slight tilt. That's one thing I learned is like, no, these bricks are actually pretty phenomenal. They're dummy proof. We overthought it. We over-constructed with them. We could have probably gone a lot even simpler. We didn't need the columns. I'm happy we have the columns now. Through it, I did see a lot of potential of easier building for other projects, for like adding rooms to other people, like locals' houses, or helping people build houses with it. I saw a lot of potential with that because they are so easy. We just complicated it when we probably shouldn't have. The bricks, they're made in a machine that's uniform. You don't need to modify them at all, but everyone thought we needed to modify them to make it lay flatter.
They're meant to be that way. They're meant to slide together. Even if there's like a little gap in there, even if they're a little wobbly, eventually your wall is still stable and sturdy.
I think it was a great learning opportunity for the students to see like, oh no, stuff fails and that's okay. It's now, what do you do with it? Do you like cry about it for a long time, or do you like just figure out the solution and move on and fix it? And that's what we did, and now it's standing and has 3 beautiful stairs that support it, and it looks good.
Eventually they found their momentum and the building progressed with fluidity.
I mean, the building went up crazy fast. I mean, it's just amazing.
The walls started shooting up. The teamwork, people were chucking bricks like in a line together.
When the system was like figured out of how the flow was, it was like people just did their thing. And all of a sudden these walls were coming up and like people were just doing their role, doing their part, and worked together really well. It's round 2, we can do this. And they did, and it's awesome. It looks awesome now.
I think the biggest thing that made it go well was everyone had a common goal. And I think anytime you're going into a project, knowing where we want to get to makes a big difference, right? If everyone's on the same page and everyone knows what we're trying to achieve, people are going to start working together.
After day 3, it just started flowing.
Thought that the Tanzanians were just super, super hard workers. They would just go at it and keep going. And I mean, it was just impressive what they could do.
Our whole group worked so hard.
People's willingness to work together and to learn and to pivot and iterate and say, whatever challenge comes up, we are going to figure out how to improve it, make it better. We're going to work through it. Nobody gave up.
Both for the Bozeman crew and Nathan's crew, it really became their building, and they owned it.
It seemed like every day people felt like they had their purpose, they had their job, and at the end of the day, they were able to look and see like, I did that.